All right, so on today's episode of frankly fruitless endeavors, Northwest Collector Auto Repair, the 1997 Land Rover Discovery series, got real excited, or got somewhat excited when I saw a 99 Range Rover show up in our local junkyard, and it came with either two or three engine options, one of which shared a fair number of parts with ours. The other one does not. It does share some, but not as many as we would like. So got up to it right away. Sure enough, it's a Rover V8, but I got it torn down a little bit here. But the fact that the alternator and the power steering pump? No, it's AC compressor, I think. Yes, AC compressor is right up front here. And then the most obvious part, which is already missing because I removed it, is the big, goofy, tubular intake manifold, which means this is in fact the Bosch 4.0 or 4. I think it's a 4.6 V8. So that being the case, it doesn't. It's still a Rover V8. The bones of it are, but it, generally speaking, does not share nearly as many parts as I was hoping. I want to get a bunch of upper intake manifold stuff for it. Ultimately, what I ended up doing is I grabbed, and I hope they're a match. They look similar, but they are slightly different. I'm hoping structurally they're the same. So I got the two hinges off of this, as well as, most importantly, this should work no matter what, the tether. So I got that off of here, and I just removed the entire door, and I even, look at that. What a guy, see? I even left the connectors, didn't even cut them open. Popped out the door side of the tether, pulled it out the back, lower bracket, upper bracket, up there. That was mostly just coming up here and finding this was a pretty big bummer. You know, the one thing that I know would work, that I could get, is the rocker arms and the push rods. But, you know, the one socket that I didn't bring is a 12.8 millimeter. So I was able to, I could get access to these two. I do have a combination wrench. It's 12 point, so I can only get 2 out of 2. And I really don't want to come back just for that stupid thing. Because it's not too bad. It's about 25 minutes from home, but just a lot of work I don't want to do. As you can see here, got this one loose here. But I only have access to 4 out of 8 total. And that's a lot of work to get questionable parts anyways, just to come up here and do that. I'd love for the hinge to work. If it doesn't work, then I'm just going to, we'll see how much it is. I probably won't even bother coming up to return it. It's pretty disappointing outcome here, but working what we can. I've already got a bunch of parts priced out and I was waiting to hopefully get some stuff off of this. But yeah, not the most exciting update, but here we are. That's how it goes. Okay, this is the follow-up from the junkyard. On the theme of the day is rainbows and butterflies, and Arthur gets pretty bummed out. So, as I mentioned while we were in the junkyard, the engine in the Range Rover is the Bosch style. Style is not the right word for it, but there's basically the GEMS unit, GEMS engines, which are the 4.0 and the 4.6, and the Bosch 4.0 and 4.6, and they have a different intake manifold, all that. But this one is most definitely GEMS style, and we'll say the long block, the populated bottom end is generally the same, but once you get into the intake manifold, all that stuff changes. Bringing me to, there's some things I could have used from that engine in the junkyard, but I didn't even get to those. What I did get was, obviously the Range Rover is a heavier, bulkier chassis, and I took a gamble because I saw these on the vehicle and I didn't think that they were the same, but I'd already made the trip out there because I was able to check that it was a 4.6, but the 4.6 can be one of two different flavors, that being the GEMS or the Bosch one. I just saw, a 4.6 was associated with the VIN, so I took the gamble, went out there. Sure enough, I was wrong. So that already limited a lot of the stuff I could get for it. So I said, well, I've already come out here. I can just turn around and go home with my tail between my legs, or I can grab some stuff that I think might work. Hindsight being 2020, probably should have just not bothered, to be honest. Especially because, so I got these two. I did get all the hardware for this as well, which again still isn't even usable, but here are the pivot pins for the body side, and these mount to the door itself. And then this, so this stuff, can't use it. And also, I've had really good days at the junkyard with a good person at the counter, and I've had days where they don't really know what they're doing and end up costing me a lot. And I kind of challenged them on it, but it's like, well, they're hinges, so we're charging you for hinges. So that was not the happiest I've ever been. I mean, you know, they're running a business, whatever. And I've had days where I've gotten hundreds of dollars of stuff for like $18. So when you win and lose, it all balances out. The stuff I'm actually going to use, I did get my usual variety of hose clamps. I think this will work. This is completely missing on the green disco, which we're calling Jimmy. I'm calling it Jimmy. Melody doesn't want to associate with it. Good for her. She's much smarter than I am. So certainly, I don't even know if I can use this. I may put a couple minutes into it and see if this will mount up, because these, I know that these bolts are the same. I think this retention piece inside is the same. This piece is different, but as long as the clearance is correct, I think it'll work. You know, basically got this for free. It's in better shape than the one on my truck, so I may splice it in. But the real takeaway is this. And it works. I got one thing out of it. Look at this. It's just be smarter than the dipstick. Dipstick for a dipstick. There you go. That's the theme of the day. Look at that. Goes right up the valve cover. Whole trip was worth it. Look at that. Magical. It's one of the most frustrating parts. So dipstick, that works. That's a win. Had nothing to speak of there. So boom, off to the races. The most frustrating part was that the rocker arms and the push rods on that engine do match. And I actually tore apart the intake manifold, as you guys saw. I got down to the valve cover, only then to realize that I didn't have a 12.8 mil socket. That was the real frustrating part of it, because I put in the work, and I got down to it, and I couldn't get those off. That really pissed me off, to be honest. And then I went to the counter and, you know, paid $46 for that tiny pile of garbage. So, since I know it's there, I already did the work up front. I am pretty sure I'm going to bring these hinges back and get, you know, $43. If I paid anything less than $43 for these, no, they just go in the scrap pile. But since I paid freaking $43 for 4 hinges, I am going to go back probably tomorrow. I don't want to, but that'll just kind of balance it out for me. I'll bring those back. I'll get $43 back, and I'll bring the one socket that I didn't bring last time, and I should be able to, fingers crossed, should be able to get the pieces that I need to at least get me to the point of having push rods and the rocker arms. I haven't ruled out the option that, you know, I take it apart and find out that it's all just oil cooked and worn out and clattered. But it'll at least be knowledge. I'll bring you guys along for it, so you'll get to do it with me. So, not a whole lot of uplift on this one, but that's the status, and we're chugging along, gonna get it done. I did also go through the parts in the Land Rover. So I consolidated, and this is unmistakably Discovery 1 4.0 matching engine parts to this car. This is all engine stuff. This is mostly interior with some other little odds and ends and bits and pieces. That fan, I don't think that it goes with this, but there's a small enough chance that I'm not just going to set that one aside. This obviously goes to it. That sorts it for the car itself, which brings me to the next point. 3 alternators. This one is I think this is the one from this vehicle. This is a much bigger, more modern body, which matches this one, but the pulley leads me to believe it's earlier than it's going to be a V-belt rather than a serpentine, which then looking at this one, this is unmistakably a series. Series 1, 2, 3, I don't know which one, but it's a series alternator. It's not OEM. It's got a part number here, which I could probably look up, which would answer it for me, but 70 amps, V-belt, and just, that's on the back, but old-fashioned style makes me think that's series. So right off the bat, this one, going to clean up and sell, this, or, clean up and put on the Facebook groups and eBay. Same with this one. I'll take the bolts out because I always steal hardware. And then these two, actually, like, nice Bosch starters. One a little greasier than the other, and I know for a fact that there is somewhere it says it's a Bosch starter as I get all greasy. There you go. Just go upside down real quick. So these are great to have. I will sell. I'm going to test both of them and see if any one works better than the other. I know for a fact that this one does still have a starter because I bumped it and it worked. These are like track bar, steering rod. See, it has the OEM steering damper on it. This one is intact, so I'm going to try and sell these. I don't want to ship them, but I think I am going to try and sell them. This looks like diesel stuff to me. This is a series dip. I can almost guarantee is a series dipstick. Just got the look to it. These are Japanese parts, but that's another Japanese part. These are push rods. There being only 8 of them. 7, 8. These go to a series truck. Gonna sell those. These, I don't want to sound like a dummy on the internet, but I'm pretty sure these are diesel injectors. They very much have the appearance of them, and hopefully they're worth some good money because I am 100% selling those. And then there's I believe this is just a breather oil cap. Looks like a series item. And then looks like a thermostat housing. Doesn't go to at least this Discovery one. And what else do we have here? Some more. I'm almost positive it's a diesel part. It looks like an injector. Kind of thought it was a glow plug at first, but it's massive and it clearly has a fuel line. These I think could go to a Discovery one, but obviously I don't need the extras here. Got the matching hardware for them, which is nice. And then these, I believe, are the spring carriers. I don't know if they're upper or lower. I don't know if they're Discovery one or not, but probably might hang on to those. But at this point, just gonna try and get rid of a lot of this stuff. This one, and I did tuck one away, is a front sway bar. Both Land Rover, actually no, the red Discovery does not have this. Maybe it does. I think the red Discovery does have this. It does not have a rear. This came with a front and a rear, so I am going to keep the rear just in case we ever do want to put it on the Discovery. This one came with both, so those are also on their way out. This looks like the foot for a jack. I don't think it's for a high lift. I don't know if that's an OEM Land Rover part or what, but something to consider. And yeah. Oh, almost forgot these. So these are OEM crossbars for the roof rack, which they came in a toolkit. They came with the toolkit, and they actually stashed away under the passenger seat pretty cleanly. This one has 2 already. The red Disco has 1 on it, but I actually got a toolkit for it that came with 2 of them. So the red Discovery has 3 total. I'm going to clean up one of these, whichever the nicest one is, and put one of them on the red Disco, and then sell the other 2, or at least just, set them aside, try and sell them. I don't like selling stuff, but this came with enough stuff, and I want to kind of mentally make some money back on this before I start throwing piles of money at it again. That's status on that one.